Hey, how's it going, guys? Let's talk a bit about Steven Universe. It's one of 3 cartoons that are currently airing on American television that I am absolutely in love with. One of the others being, of course, Gravity Falls, and the other one being South Park. Might seem out of left field, but it's always been one of my favorite cartoons ever since I was a teeny tiny kid, and it still is. It's still just as good as it ever was, if not better, and it always makes me laugh. And the video game, The Stick of Truth, which I've recently been able to play because I got a PC, is awesome, and I would highly recommend it. If you like South Park, you have to play that game. But this is not a video about South Park. This is a video about Steven Universe, and a very interesting relationship that I'm sure a lot of people have had with it, coming from the final 10 or so episodes of the first season. So if it's all the same to you guys, I would love to talk about Steven Universe as a whole and its sort of ending arc to the first season. Of course, currently we are a couple episodes into the new season, but we haven't seen too many crazy developments yet, so this is kind of a first season roundup chat, if you will. Okay, so let's start here. So Steven Universe has done something very interesting with its trajectory in that the first episodes were first of all, they were very easy to like because that art style, I mean, I don't care who you show the show to, they're gonna say that looks incredible. Just the backgrounds and they make a point of doing plenty of like super wide shots because they do that thing where they change the style when they really pull out and their character's eyes sort of convert to those kind of black dots. They make a point to do so many wide shots because, you know, they're proud of their backgrounds and their environments. And, you know, that city that they live in is incredibly beautiful. That's not something you can say about every city in every animated show. A lot of those are just the Flintstones. Let's repeat the building as the car is driving because, you know, of course, every building in this city will look the same. Not at all the case with Steven Universe. You can't show Steven driving down the road with his dad in the van and showing a bunch of buildings repeating because Steven Universe's world is so unique and colorful and strange and different. And, I mean, it's a joy to look at. So that alone is enough to draw me in as a viewer, and I'm sure plenty of other animation fans and just art fans in general. I mean, it's a joy to look at. I don't care how you spin it. Just on that alone, it's really interesting. And I was looking up some information about Steven Universe recently, and I pulled up one of the original posters, which I remember coming out so long ago, and I forgot that they changed the designs of the crystal gems kind of a little bit, especially Pearl. And I thought that was really interesting, and I was hoping to learn more about it. I never ended up looking more into it, but I don't know whether that was a studio thing or that was a stylistic thing from the creators. But when I was talking about the first chunk of the series, so they did the 49 episodes, but it's kind of the 2-in-1 thing, so it's basically a standard first season. But what's really interesting about presenting the show in that way is that you see more adventures, but they're not they're just not lengthy. So we get to see all these characters getting spiced into all of these different adventures. And something with Steven Universe, which I find really interesting, is it's very, very, very focused on the gems and Steven. Of course, Steven Universe has its citizens, just like Gravity Falls, but they're much less involved, I would say. You know, something like Adventure Time, for example, just to kind of, I feel that they're the kind of like a trinity of shows in a way. You guys can tell me if you agree. They each have their own strengths and they each have their own vibe. I think Adventure Time is very, very heavy on rotating side characters, doing arcs with side characters. And Steven Universe has that too. You know, they've got Lars and Connie and Lion and the weird mayor, but the core is much, much stronger, and it's really, really centralized around the gems. And I, for one, really like that. From my perspective, I guess it didn't seem like Steven Universe got quite as much attention once it kind of got past its first week of hype. I could be wrong about that, but I know for myself, I didn't keep up with it on a cliffhanger basis. I wasn't like, oh, I can't wait to see what happens next week, because it did get to a very episodical, bite-sized episode kind of a place where I was feeling like, oh, I can let a few weeks pass and then I can catch all back up on Steven Universe with just an hour of my time. But Steven Universe did an interesting thing where they waited for a really long time to sort of plunge into this really crazy, dramatic arc. And there's a reason why Steven Universe started trending and going so crazy, because they just plunged into the past of the gems. And when you've got a show like Steven Universe that has so much levity, when they get to those points, they hit hard. I mean, for these last episodes, I had chills. I was like bordering on tears. I was happy. The songs were absolutely legendary, and it was all really good. It was awesome. And guys, we all know we're talking about, Jailbreak, the song that Garnet does in Jailbreak. Oh my, so good, so good. Steven Universe just, it took such a long time to really dunk into that drama that it was kind of genius. Like, I got such a kick out of watching Steven Universe because I just think it's so cute and funny that when I can't remember which episode it was. I've got the episodes listed here. The episode where Amethyst takes Steven out to the kindergarten. Let's see. Is there an episode called The Kindergarten? Well, Amethyst takes Steven out to the kindergarten, and it's kind of like this wasteland where you find out all this horrible stuff has happened, and it just starts to kind of pile up. You've got Lapis Lazuli, and she's really interesting. Like, I would love to get a lot more from her. She's like definitely like one of my favorite sleeper characters from the show. And we always knew that Steven's mom was gone, but something about the way they dealt with it later on in the episodes with Lion and sort of her special place that kind of is all inside of Lion's mane, and just the relationship that we find out she had with Pearl, and eventually the other gems as well. They just wove in all of this character and backstory so seamlessly in such a short period of time. It's like they just uploaded all this crazy dramatic backstory to our brains in like one day, and it's kind of overwhelming, but it's really interesting. I don't think I can think of an animated story that's been told in this way. I mean, Steven Universe is known for, you've got these three gems that have very distinct personalities, and you've got this young kid who's brand new to being a gem, and he's just learning how to be a guardian of the human world, and he's not doing very well at it at all. I mean, even to this day, he's not progressed terribly far. I mean, sure, he's learned a lot about growing up, and he's learned some things about his powers, but he has a long, long way to go. And what that tells me is that Steven Universe is much larger than we've seen, and that is really exciting. So one thing that really, really excites me about this show moving forward is that in my mind there was just 4 gems that are tasked to save the Earth. That's the story, and I knew that they had a whole other world and all of this, but for a time that just seemed like an expository detail about the crystal gems, just so we could get to know them better. And because of all of those first front 40-ish episodes that we did, just spending hardcore time with the gems, even with Connie and Steven's dad, we could not be more invested with these characters. Now that the stakes are suddenly raising, it's like, oh, please don't kill him. When you see Garnet get slashed in the face, you're like, would they kill? You have to ask yourself those questions, because once the show takes that turn, it's kind of frightening. But you know what I thought? Once I felt the tension rising in the last, 6-7 episodes, I felt pretty certain that they were going to kill Steven's dad, and I was really sad. And I think that's one of the reasons why I was so on edge for the last episodes, because I was like, oh god, I don't want to see him go. There's a lot of times in movies or long-running TV shows where right before a character dies, they do a really obvious scene where they're have a moment. They're like, you know what? I'm glad we became friends. And then they go off and die the next episode, where they kind of telegraph it. They kind of did these episodes with Steven's dad, which really got you to like him. And you're just like, oh, he tries so hard, and maybe he's not the best dad ever, but he tries hard and he means well. And you're just like, oh, he's gonna die, isn't he? and he made it through. I was so happy. You know, they didn't even kill anyone actually, which was great. Even since no one died, it didn't really matter because those last episodes were so good. So we talked a bit about Steven Universe as a whole, as the series, and a bit about the ending, but I want to kind of hone back in to kind of these last couple of episodes. We've got Peridot, who's a very interesting character. Seems a bit grumpy, a bit on edge, and she, we find out, is sort of hailing from this distant spaceship which has who knows how many hostile homeworld gems and how many innocent captive gems on it, but they do take kind of the good gems hostage, and it's through this that we find out that Garnet is a fusion, which is super crazy and awesome. Like, she's always a fusion, and that's so damn cool. I did not see that coming. It would be, I would find it strange for someone to like randomly guess that, but of course, people will always say like, I knew it, I said that before, but you know, that's fine. People are always going to do that, but I thought that was a great little twist, and I love like how cute and little they were, and she goes on to have just an incredible fight with Jasper, just a big mean gem. I mean, she's manipulative and just awful. I mean, we've got a potentially incredible villain with her. We've got some great groundwork for her to be like a seriously memorable and awesome villain, and we see a really cool fight between her and Garnet. And as I already said, my favorite song from Steven Universe, Garnet, Stronger Than You versus Jasper. I mean, it was so cool to come at such a pivotal time, and just from everything that we now know about Garnet, and just to kind of it all to come together like this in this awesome song, absolutely splendid. This episode was just outstanding. And now that we've kind of moved forward into the next season, we do have some sort of they kind of almost feel like epilogue episodes, but that's just fine because, you know, when you have these giant adventures, it can kind of be nice to have this kind of wrap up and round up kind of thing. So they're doing that right now, and, you know, I kind of like it. We're kind of getting settled back in, and we're getting ready for, like, the next crazy stuff. But for now, we're kind of just back in cute Steven Universe mode, and I have no problem with that at all. So we kind of just have to wait and see what's next. Well, we know what's next. It's Steven Universe Uncle Grandpa crossover, which I'm not particularly excited about, but I don't know. I hope it's good. I'm sure I'll like it all the same. But I want to know your guys' thoughts on kind of the ending of that first season and how you thought that worked alongside the whole season itself. I mean, if you're a fan of the show, I'm sure you enjoyed that dramatic turn that the show kind of took. And I just want to know your thoughts about it. Did it change the way you thought about some of the gems? Did it change the way you thought about some of like the lesser gems? Did you think anyone would die? Did you think anything crazy would happen? What did you think? I really want to know. I'm looking at the time and seeing that I went on for quite a bit here, but I'm definitely wrapping up now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this reaction video. I'm doing it all in one glorious take, which, as you guys I'm sure know, I'm not the best at. I like to edit things and make them very precise normally, but I know a ton of people have been asking me to talk about Steven Universe, and even to do some like mystery style videos like I do with Gravity Falls for Steven Universe. But the truth is, I really just enjoy being kind of an oblivious fan of Steven Universe and just enjoying the episodes as they come and being genuinely shocked. I mean, if I had been as immersed with Steven Universe as I am with Gravity Falls, the surprise of Garnet being a fusion might have not been a surprise at all. For all I know, the people on the internet in the Steven Universe mystery culture might have already theorized that, and I would rather just not know that. I liked being shocked. It was fun because, to me, Steven Universe, I just like taking it in as it goes and not diving too deep in terms of the backstory and the mysteries and what's to come. I'm just a normal fan who watches it as it happens, and you know, that's just fine. But for those of you guys who are diving deep and digging up all the secrets, I know how much fun that can be too. So I hope you guys have fun with that. Hopefully you don't spoil anything for me in the future, but I'm hoping to hear what you guys think. And to close out, I got two things. First, you might have noticed this Steven Universe kind of style little guy I drew of myself down here. I made a full video where I kind of walk through the process of how I draw it and how to kind of mimic the Steven Universe style. It's a bit lengthy, it's a bit wordy, but if you're interested in seeing how I made that and how someone with subpar drawing skills can achieve something that looks a little bit like Steven Universe's style, well, you should check it out. It's pretty fun and even a little bit informative. So as we close out, I don't know how much more Steven Universe content I'm going to make. I know I could go on forever. I didn't touch on almost anything. The friends that I love, Lars, Sadie, Onion, etc. Steven's mom, Lion, the cool sword, his shield, all that good stuff. I could talk about Steven Universe for a very, very, very long time, and these are just sort of my roundup thoughts, and I don't know how much more I'm going to make moving forward. Maybe there'll be a lot, maybe it won't. I'm not sure. But for today, we've come to an end, and I want to leave you guys with one of my favorite clips from Season 1, from my very favorite Crystal Gem, Pearl, and a clip that makes me laugh every single time. Hopefully I provide enough context for you guys here, but I hope you enjoy. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.
Well, it wasn't really a test, per se, not in the traditional sense. We just wanted to see if you were ready to go on missions.
That's exactly what a test is!
Steven, it wasn't something we planned.